Hello and welcome to today's live English video here on the AM Language YouTube channel. I hope everyone's doing well and that everyone's had a great weekend. It is Monday. It is the last week of April, and in today's lesson, we're looking at eating habits when traveling. So make sure, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have achieved the goal that we set out for this month. We're now we've hit the 716 mark. So the target, that was an increase by 30 subscribers. Next month, let's see if we can do that again. Let's see if we can get up to another. Let's see if we can increase by another 30. Subscribers, and that will take us, just up to just under 800 subscribers, which would be great. Really and truly, the goal is to try and get to 1,000 as soon as possible. Irina F, good afternoon, hello, and welcome to today's lesson. I hope you had a good weekend. Privyet. So what you guys can expect this week on the AM Language YouTube channel. Well, today we've got eating habits when traveling. Tomorrow, can I remember what I said off the top of my head? No, I can't. Okay, I'm going to have to get my phone. So tomorrow we are going to look at the best places to live in the world. So make sure you join me for that one. Wednesday, which modal verb do I use? Really important. Alida, good afternoon. Buenos dias. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining. Which modal verb do I use? That's going to be on Wednesday. Thursday, business English email tips. That will be a good one to join. And then Friday, film English meaning and context. So that's what you can expect on this week's AM Language live YouTube lessons. I hope everyone managed to check out the new video that we uploaded last week. It was Past Continuous Part 2. We've now done 10 short videos where we've taken you from the present simple through to the past. You've looked at the present simple, present continuous, past simple, and past continuous. And that's taken up about 10 lessons. So the next 10, you can expect some more stuff coming your way. There's going to be a little bit to do with, you can expect more grammar points. At the moment, the short videos are just focusing on grammar. We are going to develop some other videos in the near future. There's going to be some on IELTS, which I'm looking forward to. And then it actually will be some more videos, hopefully, with other teachers in the future as well, not just always me. So those are the things that you can expect. However, let's get into today's lesson. Part of today's lesson, we'll just have a little look at tendto and the second conditional while talking about habits and eating habits when traveling. So my first question to you guys is this: when traveling, do you tend to eat local the local food? You could always use a different word like cuisine. Or do you like to eat what you would normally eat? Now here we've just put tendto. Tendto is easy to remember. It simply means usually. It's another word for usually, and we use it in terms of, we would use it in the same structure. So we could replace tendto with usually, like when traveling, do you usually eat the local food? When traveling, do you tend to eat the local food? And as you know, usually means normally. So tendto is a good alternative. You'll be looking at tendto this week if you were in an intermediate in an intermediate class, but that's what it is. That's all it means usually. So that's my first question to you guys. When traveling, do you tend to eat the local food, or do you like to eat what you would normally eat? Now, maybe it might depend on the country. Um, that's always a possibility. The country might make a difference. So, for instance, if you go to Italy, I imagine many people would look to eat Italian food. But Italian food is international as well. Good afternoon, Evelina. So it wouldn't surprise me if you went to Italy and you ate what you would normally eat, except maybe of a different style, maybe of a different quality. However, if you end up going to, let's pick a place like Greece, for example. Greece has some fantastic food. Greece is a great place for food, but and you can find plenty of Greek restaurants outside Greece, but it might not be something that you are used to eating. You might not normally eat it. So if you went to Greece, instead of looking for what you would normally eat, would you go and just eat Greek food, for example? Irina F says that she tends to eat the local food. And Alida says, I like to taste new flavors, although I have my limits, never raw meat. Okay, so that's an interesting one there, because if you went to France, you could have something called steak tata, which is which is raw meat. And I was about to say, if you went to Japan, you could have sushi, and sushi is raw fish. And the leader says that's why she doesn't that's why she doesn't eat sushi. Um, just a thing on tend to, okay, I tend to, you can see there's no S, but tends to, she tends to, he tends to. That's the only difference. If you use a pronoun like he or she, you're going to add the S after tends. He tends to. He tend to? No, tends to. So, okay, so that's off to a good start. I would say I would like to try as much local food as possible, but my stomach isn't the best stomach in the world. Now, prime example, I really like curry. But I know that if I went to India, I'd have to be really careful, because I don't think my stomach would survive for very long in India. Um, I would say if I went to Mexico, I would probably struggle to eat the local food because of the spices. Now, what structure did I just use? I'll write it down, and we can have a little look. So I said I tend to try the local food, but if I went to India, I would have to be careful because of my stomach. So here, what I've actually done is I've linked tend to, and then I've actually gone in with a second conditional. So here I've gone in with something hypothetical. So I've gone in with the second conditional over here. If I went to, okay, so I've got if I went to India. So here you can see quite clearly, this is just if plus the past simple plus would. I would have to be careful. Okay, and that's the uh, would plus in. Okay. So that's the structure of the second conditional. It's of course hypothetical, meaning it's not real in the present, because of course I am not in India at the moment. But if I went, I would have to be careful. So this comes to my question. Can you guys think of a place where you would like to try the local food, but if you went, you would have to be careful? So here I've asked it there's a second conditional at the end, so you'll need to try and answer it in a second conditional. Um, For me, I can think of another place, and that is Egypt. Now, I have actually been to Egypt, but that was a long time ago. But if I went to Egypt in the future, I know I would have to be really careful, um, because I know that the water in Egypt is not very clean, so it's easy to get food poisoning. My sister got food poisoning when she went to Egypt, from a salad, and that was in a five-star hotel. So that tells now that was a while ago now. So hopefully the quality of the water in these hotels would be better now. But I do know that when you go to places like North Africa, you do have to be careful. Another place, I would I would definitely be interested in trying their local food, would again be places like Vietnam if I went to Vietnam. But I know I would have to be careful. So let's see. Alida says if she went to Mexico, she would have to steer clear of chilies. Yeah, now Mexico are famous for their chilies. And if I went to Mexico, I would have to be really careful because I am not great with really, really spicy food. No, I don't. No, I quite like spice. I like a bit of spice in my food, but I tend to be a little bit careful when it comes to using chilies or spices, because of my stomach. So that's what I would say about that. Mexico's another place. Here's a question for, oh, let's see. Arena F says, in my opinion, this is China. Okay, I see what you mean. If you went to China, you would have to be careful. Yeah, I mean, China's a strange one. I like Chinese food that I've tried in Europe. I like Chinese food that I've tried in the States. But would I like Chinese food in China? Would I like actual Chinese food in China? I don't know. Would it be safe? Some places would be, some places wouldn't be. So that's a difficult one. I think another one that I would say is a little bit difficult for me, would be, now I've tried quite a lot of food overall. I would say, because earlier on I said Vietnam. I agree with Irina F. I've got question marks about the how much food I think I would try in China. Um, Other type of food I might be interested in trying. I'm thinking of like certain African countries at the moment when it comes to trying different foods. There is actually one place that I would definitely try the food. I would want to be a little bit careful, of one or two things they might put in the food. But I do know that food in the Middle East and Eastern Mediterranean can be really good. I know Turkey has some fantastic food. Um, Syria is famous for some food. I've tried some Syrian food and it is delicious. The range of spices are delicious. I know in Israel they've got quite a few, they've got some really nice food as well. So, I mean, generally speaking, I tend to let me know if you do this as well. Do you tend to choose your holiday destination based on the food? Okay, so do you tend to base there we go. Do you tend to choose your holiday destination based on the food? Let me know if you do that. I like to do that. I tend to choose my holiday destination sometimes on the food, sometimes on the food, because of the food. I would say that my experience in South America, um, no, I have now tried quite a lot of food in South American food. Peru, anyone from Peru, amazing food. I think food from Peruvian food is delicious, and I would say that if you go to Peru, definitely try the local food in Peru. It's really good. The one type of food I did try that I personally didn't like was hamster. I tried it because it's supposed to be a national cuisine, but if I'm being honest, I didn't like it. I thought the food in Argentina was really good. Loved obviously the steak. Um, Our leader says not at all. So you don't necessarily choose your holidays based on the food. Fair enough. Well, I would say in my experience in Argentina, for example, I loved the steaks. I thought the steaks were fantastic, great food. Um, and I've also had the privilege of trying Brazilian food, in particular Brazilian barbecues, which I have to say were was delicious. So my experience so far of South American food has been very positive. Um, I tried Ecuadorian food, which I thought was really good. I enjoyed the food in Ecuador when I was in Quito, and I was a bit disappointed with food in Chile, if I'm being honest. I think I was a bit unlucky in Chile when it came to the food. I tried the food in the Galapagos Islands when I went. Overall, that was just disappointing. The food. I didn't think the food on the Galapagos was particularly good. I thought it was a bit too commercial. I was hoping to find something a bit local, especially to do with fish, and I kind of felt it was just too commercial. Like everywhere you went, you could get burgers, for example. That's just too commercial in terms of I can't say that's a local cuisine, unless you go to Hamburg in Germany. I was hoping to try some good fish. I did try some good fish on the Galapagos, but it wasn't brilliant. So overall, that was a bit disappointing. Alida says that her father tried snails when he told her that he almost threw up. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can believe that. I don't think I would try snails. Evelina says, I don't choose holiday for food. Fair enough. Um, One type of holiday I would like to do is a pizza holiday. Well, it's a pizza trip. Now, I love pizza. So I would want to see if everywhere I go, I'd like to try the pizza. So, um, and it was a shame because when I went to New York, I didn't go to Brooklyn. And I do know that in Brooklyn, that's where you're supposed to go for some really good pizza. I've obviously tried pizza in Italy and Sicily many, many times, but I haven't been to Naples yet. And Naples is supposed to be the number one place. Um, Alida says Italian pizzas are the best. Definitely are. They are. I agree. I am. Here's one for you. Okay, in case you don't know it, I'm not keen on, meaning I don't like very much. I'm not keen on. on the American pizza. And when I say American pizza, I'm talking about the pizza from the United States. To me, it's more of a pizza pie. It's the crust and the dough is too thick. Um, I think the enjoyment of eating an Italian pizza is the size of it as well as the flavors. So Alida says, and they eat one pizza each other. Please, no pineapple pizza, says Evelina. I agree with you on that one. And Alida says, and they eat one pizza each other. Oh, they eat one pizza each. You don't. I don't think you need the other. If I know what you're talking about there. If you're talking about the US, Alida, then you can say they eat one pizza each. You don't need the other. Um, but yeah, they eat the pizzas in the US are huge to begin with. They are massive and very very thick crust. So I don't like the US pizza style. I prefer the classic Italian style pizza. I think everything about it is best. Is better. And also, I think the other thing is on the subject of pineapple. I myself don't like pineapple on pizza. I have tried it. I really don't. I'm not convinced. I don't think pineapple and ham and cheese and tomato go together. That being said, I do know that the pineapple in South America is delicious. And when I went to South America and tried pineapple, I thought I was trying pineapple for the first time. Pineapple in Europe tends to be not particularly great. It tends to be disappointing. Notice how I'm now using tends to talk about um, something like this. Pineapple in Europe tends to be. So pineapple, for example, pineapple in Europe tends to be disappointing, for example. So it tends to be, or it usually is disappointing, for example, um, because it's not really sweet. And I know from experience that the pineapple in South America is really sweet. So I guess if you have it on a pizza from in South America, maybe it might taste quite good, but I'm not convinced. Pineapple in Colombia is delicious. Yes, I've heard pineapple in Colombia is delicious. I tried pineapple as well in Ecuador, and I thought the pineapple in Ecuador was incredible. I thought the pineapple in Peru was brilliant. Same in Argentina as well. And I forgot, I've been to Bolivia and I had a good pizza in Bolivia. I didn't have the pineapple in Bolivia. I don't think I tried pineapple in Bolivia. So that was my experience of South America. But I don't always choose where to go based on food, but I do like to think about it. Um, I myself quite like Japanese food, so I would quite like to go to Japan to try to try Japanese food. I think the capital for food there is Osaka, if I'm not mistaken, and another place in Europe that's supposed to be really good is Valencia in Spain. Evelina says pineapple is good, but not with pizza. I agree with you, Evelina. Yeah, for those of you who like Mediterranean, different types of Mediterranean food, I do know that Valencia is supposed to be one of the best places, or the region where Valencia is supposed to be one of the best places in Spain to try real Spanish food. Um, Now, I've only been to Spain once, but I want to go back to Spain. I need to go back to different parts of Spain because it's quite a big country. I would love to try. Um, I would love to try paella, which I believe is rice mixed in with fish and other ingredients. I think it's something like that. I've tried food in Portugal, and I really liked the food actually when I was in Portugal. Obviously, food in France, goes without saying. That's really good. And Italy, I would say some people. Okay, I would say this. Some people will might think of the UK and think you're not going to find good food in the UK. So just let me know. Let me know. Do you think? Do you think English food is good? Actually, let me change English to British. Do you think British food is good? Let me know what you think. Now, I have quite a lot to say on British food because British food is quite different from when I was growing up. Anita says only fish and chips. Interestingly enough, historically, Britain got fish and chips from Portugal. Originally, the history of it is that the idea of fish and chips was a Portuguese dish, and the British, at some point, uh, thought it was such a good idea that it became a national dish. It's a bit like pie, like the pork pie. That was originally a Roman dish, and we've always loved the pie in England. But fish and chips in the UK is very good. I agree there. But there's lots of other types of dishes that I would say can be really good in the UK, and that's more to do with. I think it's always a little bit of oatmeal, says Arena. Maybe oatmeal, yes. I would say the really good British food most of the time is heavily heavily influenced by French cooking. There's a huge amount of influence on French cooking in classic English dishes. So I would say that if you want to have good food when you go to Britain, you can find it in a on a huge scale, but you will often find that the style of cooking is very close to the French. Evelina says that she's heard of delicious apple pie. Now, I will say this: apple pie is a wonderful pie. Apple pie is brilliant. There's a few really good dishes. I can recommend apple pie. I can recommend something called Yorkshire pudding, which you would have with a roast beef. That's really nice. Um, let's see. There's something called a Lancashire Hot Pot, which is really good. If you like lamb or roast lamb, there's something called a Lancashire Hot Pot. Lancashire is a shire, the equivalent of a state, which is between Manchester between Liverpool and Manchester. That's a nice area of the country. Okay, so yeah, those are some things. Now, one country we haven't mentioned yet is Russia, because I know that in Russia they have some very famous dishes. One famous dish which I haven't tried, but I've heard is supposed to be really, really quite nice, is beetroot soup. So, Irina F, let me know about beetroot soup. What about Ireland? Ireland is very similar to the UK, if I'm being honest. Um, Lots of dishes, well, lots of cuisine, food based around lamb and beef. Um, we would call it maybe, I think the word we would use is probably something like a bistro food. Now, in case you're wondering, what is bistro food? Um, Bistro food is it's not delicate. It's not fancy French food. Um, you get a large portion. It's going to be healthy, um, and it's going to be fairly simple, but the flavor will be quite good. So you won't get an impressive, you know, roast lamb or something. You'll just have lamb, and you'll have your potatoes. It's not going to be, high end dining. It's simple, what you call maybe simple pub food, really. Simple pub food. Now, you've got different levels because you can find very good pub food and sometimes really good pub food that is at your very high restaurant standards. But your normal bistro food is something like this. We would say party food, meaning warm and lots of it. It's warm food. It's food that makes you feel warm, and you have lots of it. So that's what you would call your kind of like your bistro food. Um, let's say, okay, if you were, if you went, let's go with this question though. If you went to UK, or actually, here's one. If you went to Europe specifically for food, which would be the first place on your list? If you went to Europe specifically for food, which would be the first place on your list? This is not an easy answer. I know what my answer is probably going to be. You don't just need to say the country, you can tell me the actual specific location. Now, for me, the specific location for me would be, and this is where it gets a little bit difficult. Let's see, Alida says Italy for sure. Next, Spain. Yeah, I would go with Italy, but where in Italy? That is a hard question. I would say that the food in Sicily is incredible, and the bread in Sicily is nicer than uh, than in other parts of Italy. Evelina says Spain. If yes, Spain, I would be very tempted to go to maybe. Oh, gosh, where in Spain though? This is it. Where in that country? So if I said Italy, I would be tempted to say. Actually, you know what? Verona is a nice place for food. I'm going to say Verona. If it's France, I'm going to say. I don't want to say Paris. I don't know where I would say in Paris. Sorry, where in France? Alida says that she thinks the best bread is French is in French in France, or the best bread is French. You don't need in French, just French. The bread in France, though, or French bread, is delicious. A lot of Germans would tell you that the best bread in the world is German. Irina F says maybe Portugal. Portugal, there is some really nice food in Portugal. Gosh, it's a difficult one. Oh, yes, I see. Alida, yes, well done. Oh, gosh, it's a difficult one. Okay, so we've come up with lots of ones over here. Okay. Same question, but in the Americas. Now, when I use the Americas, I mean the whole two, three, I mean both continents, North and South America. So whether you're talking about the tip of Argentina or Alaska at the very top and anything in the middle, that's the Americas. So where would the first place be when you think of food and the Americas? Where would you go? This is probably, again, a very difficult question to answer. Funny enough, I don't think anyone is going to say Canada, which makes me laugh. I don't know what it is. When I think of Canada, I think of nature. I don't think of food. In fact, I cannot think of anything to do with Canada and food. It just doesn't equate. Um, like Canada and food, it just doesn't go together. Alida says Argentina, of course. Well, Alida, I'm not surprised you would say that. Let's see what other people come out with. I'm not sure what my answer would be. If it was steak, it's definitely actually, yeah. Look, if I was going to the Americas, I'll be thinking of steak. So if I'm thinking of steak, I think it then depends what type of steak I'm going for, which means I'm really looking at either Argentina or Brazil as my destination. Based off my experience, if it's in a restaurant, I might go with Argentina, and if it's a barbecue, um, okay, let's see. Evelina says Argentina as well. Elida says best barbecue in the world. You know what? I can imagine there being a lot of competition between Argentina and Brazil when it comes to the barbecue. And I do know that other places take barbecues very seriously. Australia and South Africa. In fact, I think a barbecue competition between also, yes, let's not forget Uruguay in this. It's easy to forget Uruguay, but you're quite right. I think a really good food competition would be a barbecued food between Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, South Africa, and Australia. I would watch that. I would definitely watch that, and I would probably enjoy it, and I would want to take part. There's something about the barbecue, and actually, funny enough, it's getting to that time of year when this weather's good, and maybe it's time to have a barbecue if you're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere at this time of year, the weather might still be good, might still be hot-ish, but you're now entering your autumn, I believe. That's what I think anyway. I might be wrong. But you know what? I did have a barbecue the other day, and it was really, really good. I had a Brazilian barbecue actually the other day, so that was nice. But yeah, I think oh gosh, yes, an Argentina and Brazilian steak competition. That would be really good. Everyone's a winner there. Okay, so we've had a really good conversation, a good lesson about food. Alida says yes, but it's still quite warm. I ate a barbecue yesterday. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear, Alida. Um, so, guys, yes, when I go traveling, I tend to eat as much of the local food as possible. If I were to go to the Americas, I would be thinking of certain South American countries like Argentina or Brazil or Peru when it comes to food. If it's Europe, my first choice would probably be Italy. And if I went to the Far East, I think my first choice would be Japan, actually, if I went that far. We've looked at tendto, we've looked at the second conditional. As always, guys, make sure you like and share the video, and don't forget to follow the video and to take part. Please write and comment in the live chat section. It's always great. And today, this was more of a conversation one, and it's been very enjoyable. I like these sort of fluence-based conversations where you're just trying to use the language, and you see people using the language as well to communicate, because that's why you learn the language, to communicate your thoughts. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. with a lesson on the best places to live in the world. Make sure you join me for that. Alida says, thanks, Richard. See ya. You too, Alida. Thank you. Thank you, Evelina, as well, for your participation. Thank you, Alida. Thank you, Irina F. Take care and have a nice evening as well. And anyone else watching, thank you very much. And thank you for everyone for your participation as well in the live chat comments. I'll be back tomorrow, same time with another live lesson. Make sure you join me for that. Take care and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.